Welcome to this little YouTube. This is just a small video. I want to do two parts actually. One, I'm going to talk about basically the throat chakra in itself in a nutshell. It's, as always, a huge dimension of complexity and integration with the other chakra centers, so it's never as simple. And at the same time, we don't need to always understand all that anyway to work with it and to activate it. So the first thing I want to say is this throat center is super important. So when we come from the heart and we are opening up into our truth and into our self-love, which means we're not in denial about things, which means we are honoring ourselves, it is so vital that we can speak what we're actually feeling. So this is an art form, and the throat center is all about that. So it affects your thyroid and parathyroid. It affects, therefore, your metabolism, your quality of your hair, your skin, your weight is affected by this. And in a sense, that's how emotions link with it as well. Are you able to communicate your truth? Are you able to, vibrate that center? So in that center, we actually manifest. So it is etheric here. So it's very fine frequency. So as we are aware of our throat consciousness, which is our inner teacher in all of us, we also begin to be able to recognize we can communicate. We can communicate to collaborate. We can communicate to express our truth. So one of the big questions you would want to ask yourself right now is, am I comfortable to communicate my truth? Am I comfortable to communicate and have repercussions? Or am I shutting down through fear of what the outcome might be? That's how we limit ourselves. So because it is a manifestation center, communication creates so much change in our lives for the best. It helps us to be able to communicate with a boss that perhaps we're not happy there and what we need, and they may respond. It helps our partners or relationship people, like for our example, our children or neighbors, to understand each other and ourselves, what we're about, and to connect until we go into full telepathy and psychic awareness, which we already have too. The throat center is amazing, and how quickly something can be changed with a certain tone of voice, with a smile, with a word and a sentence that really means something to someone, an acknowledgement. For example, I appreciate how you express that, or I appreciate how you do this, or how you don't do that, whatever that is for you. So that can make all the difference and literally boost the immune system through that self-confidence, through that alignment. And then naturally the whole body isn't in fight or flight, which is the cortisol release and the stress response, which negatively affects everything. So we can't take any chakra as less important than another. So to be able to really speak your truth, what do we do? Well, first of all, meditation in silence is super important, because we need to be aware of what our inner voice actually is. Sometimes that's overridden by programs from other people where we weren't allowed to listen to ourselves. And so some people, as you know, due to such trauma, begin stuttering. They don't speak. When you're in shock, we shut down, we don't speak. Sometimes people just scream to release the stress. So the throat center is hugely important. Children naturally express themselves with their voice. They get loud, they're happy, and when they cry, they express themselves, because it is also a center that helps us to release what needs to be released from the body. And if we ignore that, it gets stuck. And this is a beautiful way of recognizing, for example, do you have a lot of sore throats? Do you have sort of coughs a lot? Anything to do with your throat and your voice. Does your voice often fail? And it's beautiful to just use this as a journey, noticing, yes. And in what circumstances that arises as well. Do you sometimes feel that you need to just speak, and if you don't, you just can't survive, and you're getting louder and louder? Because what happens is that when we feel heard, We are quite soft. We talk about the different voices, and one of them is the lover's voice, which is when you are cozy and snuggling and you understand each other, and there's a very soft voice. But then when misunderstandings happen, the voice gets louder and louder eventually. So that means when someone's very loud, it's a good sign for you to know that they really don't feel heard. So people that have a lot of loud voices and they shout a lot and they've been made it a lifestyle to be dominant with their voice, they weren't heard and have made it a pattern, so that in essence they've decided to be heard, I have to be loud. And the other way also works. In order to be safe, in order to not have stress, I don't speak loudly. I keep it quiet. I think 10 times before I speak. And these are all polarities within the same aspect of ourselves. So what is beautiful is to realize that this is a manifester and a manifesting center. That sound keeps traveling out into the cosmos, and it is a manifester. The more you think and realize your inner voice and you express it and speak it, the more you actualize it into something solid, because then actions follow and collaborations happen, change in direction happens, all sorts of things. So notice what's happening at your throat. Notice if you have a lot of throat problems, if you feel uncomfortable. And as we meditate in class or as you meditate in your life, notice if you get any memories at your throat. Notice if you cough during the class or have other emotions or feelings rising up to do with your voice and speaking it. Because many of us have died in the past saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. Even in this simple life now where we don't get beheaded anymore, we may have said something wrong to someone one day, which we didn't mean the way it was. It came across as so-called wrong, and it caused a total outburst and a loss of a relationship, or a loss of a business deal, or just something somewhere. You know, even in the media, these things can be really misinterpreted and misconstrued. And that is also the power of the throat, really knowing when to be silent and honoring that. So one of my things I had to learn is that I really love to take my time to think about things. And when I have clarity, I like to speak then. That's generally how I am. And sometimes I've been pushed into, come on, let's talk now. We need to talk now. This is a thing that's happened to me over my life quite a bit. And when that happens and I'm not ready, I know full well that A, I haven't thought about it properly, and B, I might get super emotional and other things might bubble up that's got nothing to do with this person even, because it's a welling up of something to process. It's a welling up, not off. It's a welling up of something that we need to sit in. Otherwise we project things forward, you know, we spew things out, we choke on things, we get into a trauma response from the past even sometimes. So you'll be surprised how much time and energy you can save when you know how to utilize your voice and your throat chakra, because through clear communication, effective communication, where you know where your boundaries are, when you wish to speak and when you're ready to listen, and all this, when we all honor each other, you can just save so much time of, you know, ignoring something important that's just breathing and infesting your life for years and years and years. You could be spending your entire life in denial of your truth, your beautiful life essence wasted. And maybe if you expressed it, the other person would have actually been even happier. It maybe wasn't even going to cause any challenge. Might have up-leveled everything. Overall, when we start to speak our truth and we are deeply in our truth, we are super empowered, and it feels good biologically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because it's like an alignment and an empowerment. It can happen very easily that if so far you haven't spoken your truth that much, that as you speak it, there will be, you know, surprise from family members or your old friends, and that things will change. But rest assured that there's nothing worse than not speaking your truth and being your true self. It's actually one of the most powerful things, even in yogic philosophy. Lying to ourselves and living a lie is extremely detrimental. It's almost a waste of life. It's living in the head of an illusion, of a program, and not being really human, not being really real. And when you're really human and really real, you shine a light and an empowerment into the planet that is beyond compare, literally. Something changes and it has to be experienced to be known. So it is always worth it, so that when you speak the truth, the right people will resonate or understand or love or appreciate it. And the people that no longer serve you will potentially not like you for it or walk away. And that's perfect, because there's a million people and there's many other people, and we have sometimes small contracts with people, sometimes longer ones. To honor yourself means thriving. It means remembering how many times you have ignored your own voice. So we're going to do exercises with the throat. We're going to go in right now, even as you listen to me meditate, and just feel what's coming up at your throat for you. Is your throat often dry or mucusy? Do you find certain situations where you cough or where your voice cracks? Do you find there are situations when you have to speak really loud to be heard and it's really annoying for you? You're a bit over it. And just noticing, feeling love for your throat center. It is a profound, complex instrument that we're learning how to navigate. Especially right now, when we're in fear, we tend to be more careful about what we can say and what we can't. When society jumps on us, depending on what our opinion is, this is a huge awakening about the throat center and respecting each other's voice and each other's truths, the inner teacher that is here. So it's a blue spinning wheel of light. We work with the neck, shoulder shrugs. Notice if that area, if you often feel heavy from behind, burdened, stabbed in the back. And we're going to journal about that. And I will run other classes that will keep doing that, even in retreats. There will be a lot that I'm going to be working and offering to you, with you, for joyful release of a lot of ancient history, of a lot of patterns that we've absorbed and carried. So even a neck massage is great, massaging and acknowledging, what's happening there. We want to work body, mind, and spirit, because it is that way. It's a DNA, it's a cellular memory, it is in the muscles, it is in our patterns, in our programming, and it's also a societal still pressure and program. So I want you to just, if you can, take a slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, just focus on the throat. Make some sounds that suit you, a bit of humming, breathing, observing the vibration there. So singing is really great. Singing, speaking, whistling, noticing. And one of the best things we're going to be doing as we work on this is falling in love with our own voice, developing it, and realizing how powerful that is. How incredibly powerful for you to feel connected, to manifest in alignment, to be able to ask for what you want, to be able to listen to yourself, to be able to equally receive other people's words. And therefore we grow together and learn. How incredible. So from a yogic Kundalini perspective, from an everyday perspective of even psychology or art, expression, dance, music, singing, it's all there, and it's very, very empowering. We cannot ignore the throat center. And maybe in the past we were even hung for this. Maybe we were, lost all our land or all that we ever had. We need to let that come up. I'm here for this, to hold space, to go into past lives, to release old patterns with ease, joy, and grace. And then that pattern is gone, because the world is moving forward into that shift. So whatever comes up for you, notice it and honor it. It's quite easy these days. It's really ready to shift. So enjoy the journey and journal, write down, sound, and really trust yourself. Get playful. Wear necklaces, scarves, connect with sound, with massage, whatever feels right. Infinite potential. See you.